I created a beautiful card using products from the Masquerade collection from Stamperia. Hey everyone, it's Joy here and welcome to my channel. Okay, so I did an unboxing, I believe it was last week, and I showed you a lot of these products. This is the Masquerade collection. I'm using a washi pad. They're 8x8 paper. Here's from that washi pad. Well, I'm only going to use one of those though. And then ephemera. I took some of those pieces out already, and we're going to create a beautiful card. So there is like no coloring, no die cutting. I do do a little bit of fussy cutting, and I'll show you why. Which is weird for me, but it was actually super easy, so it didn't bother me too much because I'm very much a coordinating die cut kind of girl. So I picked out my piece of paper and I am cutting my background, which is an A2 size. That measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I loved the top left corner of the paper and I wanted that. That's what made me pick this background. Okay, so I trimmed out, I cut out pieces from the washi pad. So those are these pieces right here. I'm adhering these down to a piece of mixed media white cardstock from scrapbook.com. I'm doing this because then I'm going to fussy cut these guys out to give us some more like ephemera style pieces. So I did that off camera, super quick, super easy. I have another little piece that I trimmed out that has some writing, which I thought was really pretty, and I wanted to put that on this window piece of ephemera. So I'm going to put that aside. You can see right above that some of those pieces that I cut out. I'm using gathered twigs, adding just a little bit of dark edge to that background piece of pattern paper that I trimmed out already. I'm going to add some of that gathered twigs to that window as well. I want to darken that up just a little bit, kind of darken up that washi tape piece that has the writing on it. I'm going to go around that just a little bit, giving this a little bit of something extra. I'm just using some sponge daubers from scrapbook.com, and I love them, by the way. Okay, then I have my Distress Spritz in Fossilized Amber. It's gold and I love it, so I'm going to splatter that on both of these pieces here. Then in that 8x8 paper pad, I'm going to cut out my sentiment that says, "You are beautiful." And what is fabulous about this, I mentioned this in the unboxing, is when I'm cutting this out, it lines up on the back with a little strip like that that doesn't have a sentiment. So you're not ruining the paper behind it or the images behind it on the other side of the paper. And I love that. Doing a little bit of distressing with my scissors around the edge of that sentiment and also around that piece of paper. Nothing crazy, just the tiniest bit. And now we kind of have all of our pieces and we can start layering this out. Oh, I also do it on the window. I forgot I did that. I will say most of this window gets covered up, so you don't know that ahead of time, and so you just want to have everything colored and distressed how you want it, even though most of it usually ends up getting covered up anyways. I'm using 1mm foam adhesive behind this window, and I'm going to center this in this card panel. Isn't it so pretty though? That pattern paper is so pretty. I think I was looking for my tweezers. I'm like, I know they're here somewhere. Where is a whole other story? And then I think I found them. So I'm going to place this right in the center. Sorry guys. I'm going to place this right in the center, and then we're going to build with the rest of our pieces. So I'm starting with the larger pieces and working down to the smaller pieces. So I loved this moon. I love that blue color, and of course it's got gold or kind of a bronzy color with it, and I just love it. So some 1mm foam adhesive behind this. This will be adhered directly to that window. So if you're someone who doesn't like coloring or doesn't want to color or doesn't want to die cut or anything like that, stuff like this makes fantastic cards. Everything's already ready for you, and all you have to do is arrange it. Maybe do some distressing, maybe add a little bit of ink blending to it. You could also add some stenciling to that background paper. So you could do some minor things like that if you wanted, and still have this absolutely gorgeous card with all of these beautiful images. And then all you have to do is just lay it out and put it together. So the rest of that stuff is not glued down, don't panic. I just have it laid out. I do want to get my sentiment in here. I have 2mm foam adhesive behind that. I'm going to tuck that in. I like to lay everything out ahead of time. I am not great like some of these crafters that can just start putting it down. I'm like, I'm just not like that. I have to lay it out and look at it. So let's start building. We have this great little sun. I love that turquoise color. I'm going to tuck that behind that moon. And then we've got some florals. These florals are the ones that I used from the washi pad and then cut them out with my scissors. So they're beautiful, along with all of these little pieces right here that I'm working with are those pieces from the washi pad. Now I've used washi tape. I didn't even know a washi pad existed until Stamperia sent me a box of goodies. And so I was like, what is this awesome thing? I love it. Absolutely love it. And to me, you can't tell that it was adhered to a white piece of cardstock. And once I cut it out, you have no idea, you know, other than my butterfly, because I didn't cut around his little antenna things because that's too much fussy cutting for me and I don't care. But what I did do to combat that is took a little bit of that gathered Twigs Distress Oxide ink and just lightly ink blended over so the white wasn't so stark white. Okay, let me grab a little more foam adhesive. I need a little piece of that 1mm. I'm going to put that on the top of that moon up there because it just needed a little something. Then we have this large blue flower. I love it. I think it's so pretty. I want that to have a little bit of foam adhesive. We've got those beautiful gold leaves tucked behind the moon. I think that was the thing that was the hardest to fussy cut out, but I really wasn't overly concerned because I'm like, most of it's going to be hidden. So if it looks a little cruddy, it's okay. This gold butterfly was from the Ephemera pack. The blue butterfly was from the washi pad. And I definitely wanted a butterfly by that sentiment. So I'm going to put a little foam adhesive behind him. And in the Ephemera pack, I don't know if you can see in that little container to the top left, there's these tiny little butterflies and tiny little flowers. And they're so pretty. And I definitely use some of those because they're so cute. I need a whole bag of just those in tons of different colors and maybe like two or three different sizes of those little itty bitty guys. So I'm going to glue those down now. I got a little flower, a little butterfly. I think I'm talking too fast. My tongue wants to get tied. A little butterfly up there and then down here. We have some of those stars. I don't use all of those in that container. I just needed everything out so I could kind of see, because once it comes down to these little tiny little pieces, you just don't know till you know. So I did a little flower there, a little flower down here at the bottom. There's a couple little tiny like clocks, like little clock faces that I'm going to put in place. I think they're so cute. So I'm going to do one towards the top and one towards the bottom. I have a small star here that I'm going to put in place, another star here up at the top. This is where adding all these fun little guys just really, it kind of completes the picture. Adding all these little fine details really, I don't know, just really changes the whole card. I'm going to add a star down here at the bottom. And I do add one of those kind of fancier stars behind that yellow moon on the left-hand side behind the sentiment as well. Let's put that little clock right there, that little clock face, and I'm going to do one down below. But as you can see, we're creating little collections or little clusters of things in different areas. I don't want to cover up that moon face because obviously it's beautiful. And then you have all this dimension, because the flowers and the butterflies are taller than the moon, but the moon is taller than the window and it's on top of that. So think about that when you're putting cards like this together. Think about adding dimension. Think about adding collections or clusters of things together. Okay, let's take a look at how beautiful this is up close. I love how it turned out. I hope you guys do too. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I hope you feel inspired by this project, and I hope you guys have a really amazing day.